Dr. Kira Thorne ran the quarantine station on Helios Drift because nobody else wanted the job. It was a floating prison for diseases, a sterile cage where infected ships waited out their isolation periods while their crews complained and medical scanners hummed. She'd taken the position after the scandal, the one where she challenged the Medicorum's protocols and lost her tenure. Out here, at least, nobody cared about her reputation. The distress signal came from a VRYNN hunter ship, its transponder barely functioning. The VRYNN were apex predators from the scorched territories, bipedal reptilians with armor-plated hides and venom sacs that could liquefy internal organs. Their empire spanned 60 systems, built on conquest and ritualized combat. They considered most species, especially humans, as little more than amusing curiosities. Too soft, too emotional, too weak to matter. When Kira arrived at the docking bay, she expected warriors. What she found was carnage. Bodies littered the corridor, adult verwenen slumped against bulkheads, their scaled skin mottled with dark lesions. Some still twitched, caught in the final stages of whatever had killed them. The air tasted of copper and decay. Then she heard it, a thin, keening cry from behind a cargo container. The hatchling was barely larger than a house cat, its crimson scales still soft and vulnerable. It crouched over the body of what must have been its mother. One small clawed hand pressed against her armored chest as if willing her to breathe again. When it saw Kira, its eyes, vertical slits of molten gold, widened with something between fear and desperate hope. "Help!" It rasped through its translator collar, the device too large for its small neck. "Please! Disease! They're all dying." Every protocol screamed at Kira to seal the bay and purge it with radiation. Unknown pathogen. Lethal transmission rate. The VRYNN had refused humanity's offers of medical cooperation for decades, dismissing human medicine as primitive guesswork. Let them handle their own plague. But it was a child, alone, watching its entire world die around it. Kira sealed her environment suit and approached. "I'm going to help. What's your name?" "SYTH. The hatchling's voice cracked. "My clutch mother is First Hunter Wraith. She's still breathing. The others, they stopped hours ago." Kira followed SYTH deeper into the ship. Wraith lay in the command chamber, her massive body racked with violent tremors. Black veins spiderwebbed beneath her scales, and fluid leaked from her eyes and nasal slits. Kira had never seen anything progress this fast. Whatever this was, it was burning through the VRYNN physiology like acid through paper. She deployed her medical scanner. The readings made her stomach drop. Viral hemorrhagic fever, similar to human diseases but adapted to VRYNN biology. Their enhanced metabolism, designed for hunting for rapid. The hatchling didn't hesitate, scurrying through the death ship with a purpose that broke Kira's heart. When it returned, claws stained with the blood of its fallen clan, Kira began her analysis. The virus mutated rapidly, but there was a pattern. Each victim showed slightly different progression rates. One warrior, dead near the environmental controls, showed antibodies the others lacked. Her immune system had fought longer, harder. It had still lost, but the battle had produced something useful. Kira synthesized the antibodies, adapting them through rapid evolution protocols. The process took 3 hours. Wraith's breathing grew shallower with each passing minute. SYTH stayed pressed against its mother's side, whispering prayers to warrior gods that probably had no answers for plague. "This might not work," Kira said, prepping the injection. "VRYNN physiology is different from anything I've treated. The dosage, the delivery method, I'm guessing." "You came when no one else would," SYTH said quietly. "That's enough." Kira administered the treatment directly into Wraith's secondary heart, bypassing the compromised primary cardiovascular system. Then she waited. 1 minute. 2. 5. The tremors slowed. The black veins began to fade, retreating like tide from a shore. Wraith's eyes snapped open, focusing on Kira with predatory intensity. "Human." The word was a growl, thick with confusion. "You should have sealed the bay. Purged us. Standard quarantine protocol." Standard protocol doesn't account for scared kids watching their parents die. Wraith's gaze shifted to SYTH, who had collapsed against her in exhausted relief, then back to Kira. "We consider your kind weak. Prey animals playing at civilization. Why risk contamination for us?" Kira stripped off her gloves, suddenly too tired to maintain professional distance. Because maybe strength isn't just about who can kill the most efficiently. Maybe it's about who chooses to save someone when it would be easier to walk away. The incident report reached the Galactic Medical Council within days. A human had cured a VRYNN plague using improvised techniques and cross-species adaptation protocols that shouldn't have been possible. The VRYNN High Command, who had never acknowledged human medical capability, sent an unprecedented request. They wanted Dr. Kira Thorne to establish a joint research facility. 6 months later, First Hunter Wraith stood before the council alongside Kira. "I have killed across 100 battlefields," she testified. "I have led hunts that brought down creatures you cannot imagine. But I learned the meaning of courage from a human who had every reason to abandon us and chose mercy instead. Perhaps the greatest strength is knowing when to fight and when to heal." Kira never thought of herself as special. She'd just done her job, applied her knowledge, refused to give up. But in that refusal, she'd shown the galaxy that humans possessed something rarer than claws or armor or venom. The stubborn, unreasonable compassion to try saving everyone, even those who'd never save them back.